Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
You know how some stories start with decades ago, but the real action only kicks in later? That's my life. 32 years ago, I was barely out of junior high, my sister Sarah even younger, when our father, David Prescott, decided his new family was more important. He'd met Sheila Greyson at a roadside diner, and soon enough, he abandoned us to move onto her dilapidated cabin in the woods, visiting only to drop off a paltry sum for groceries before vanishing again. Eventually, our mother found out, and we moved in with her, which, honestly, felt like trading one kind of neglect for another. David married Sheila the next year. Soon after, Sheila called me, spinning a cruel lie about David's health, saying he couldn't handle the stress of having us around, only her and her son, Corey, who was my age. When I confronted David, he denied it, claimed Sheila would never say such a thing. That was one of the last real conversations we had for decades. I struggled, truly, worked my way through university, slept in my car sometimes, but I made it. I built a life, a career as a senior software engineer in fintech, and a loving family of my own. David and I were no contact, though I'd hear through the grapevine that he'd bought a house for Sheila and Corey and put Corey through some vocational training. When my grandmother passed, Sheila and Corey showed up and cleared out anything of value. I cut ties with that entire side of the family then, believing the best revenge was living well. But the universe, apparently, had other plans for Corey. 2 years ago, a call came from my Uncle Aaron. David, he said, was in an assisted living facility in Brightwater Springs, only 20 minutes from my current home. Corey, it seemed, had disappeared, ghosted his own stepfather. Aaron insisted David needed my help. The irony wasn't lost on me. I saw an opportunity not for reconciliation, but for answers and perhaps for something more. The reunion was cold. I didn't want to make amends. I wanted to know how a man who chose another family ended up alone and discarded. David, weak and bedbound, told me Sheila had died of lung cancer a few years prior. Corey, as her son, became David's power of attorney, moving into David's house with his own children, ostensibly managing David's affairs. But now, Corey was MIA, and David was worried. He wanted me to drive to the house, an hour and a half away, just to check on things. He never asked about my life, my family, just the house. Morbid curiosity got the better of me. I agreed. I'd never seen the place David had shared with his real family. What I found was a derelict nightmare. The yard was a jungle, the front door obscured by weeds. 3 beat-up trucks, 2 filled with garbage, sat rusting. David's modified SUV was on flats, also crammed with trash. City condemnation notices plastered the doors. The few windows I could peer through revealed a hoarder's paradise of filth and decay. A letter in the mailbox declared mail delivery ceased due to abandonment. That night, I didn't sleep. I Googled durable power of attorney and fiduciary duties. The next day, I returned to David with pictures. His vow to beat Corey's ass rang hollow. I told him I'd help, but only if he signed over full, durable financial and medical POA to me. He agreed. I found a lawyer willing to travel. That lawyer was a godsend, crafting a watertight POA and filing to revoke Corey's. I was now armed. My hometown, Creekwood, is a small, suffocating place where everyone knows everyone. That can be a weapon. I got to work. First, anonymity. A new burner phone number for David, a PO box in Creekwood, and mail forwarding. I pulled his credit report. At his small-town bank, I presented my new POA, changed his address, and got new account numbers. I requested every transaction record since Sheila died. Sitting in that bank lobby, poring over months of statements, I saw the true depth of Corey's staggering stupidity. David received about $6,000 a month from his merchant mariner pension and veterans' benefits. Twice a week, Corey would walk into a branch and withdraw cash, all of it, for over a year. Each time, as POA, he signed a form. The bank confirmed every signature was Corey's. The grand total of his theft was just shy of $150,000. Then the house. I called a locksmith. The moment he opened the front door, the stench hit us like a physical blow. Mold, rot, animal waste. I tipped him $100 just for enduring it. With new keys, I called the sheriff. 3 vehicles on the property, I said, not belonging to David. they were promptly towed. As the tow truck driver, a local I half recognized, asked me to sign, he said, "You know Corey Greyson." My hatred, simmering for decades, boiled over. "Do you?" I shot back. He nodded. "Yeah, he's an asshole." I leaned in. "Tell him Maren Lynn is coming for him." His face paled. He knew a woman with a mission when he saw one. Alone on the carport steps as dusk fell, the symphony of rats and roaches began inside. I was furious. That 72 hours could reveal such a cosmic level of betrayal. I could walk away, but the thought of Corey's life unraveling, his ill-gotten gains vanishing, and David having to hear about it from me, it sparked a giddy satisfaction. I doubled down. Restraining orders, I Googled that night. Getting a temporary restraining order was shockingly easy. I went to the Creekwood courthouse, filled out the form, and found myself before a judge who had served in the Navy. After a brief chat about David's military service and my job for a defense contractor, a white lie, my real job involves security clearances, so it tracks, he granted the order. I then researched biohazard cleanup companies and elder abuse statutes. I hired a biohazard team. They charged me $8,000 to clear out the house, worth every penny. They found David's mummified cat under a pile of pizza boxes. Corey was served his restraining order during this time, and a hearing date was set. I started building my case, photos, spreadsheets of withdrawals, timelines, cross-references. I was meticulous. And just for a touch of extra cruelty, I brought David 8x10 prints of his deceased pet from every angle. Before the permanent restraining order hearing, I visited the local sheriff's office. A detective tried to brush it off as a domestic matter. I handed him a folder, highlighted statutes on fiduciary responsibility, bank statements detailing Corey's $150,000 theft, David's credit report showing tens of thousands in debt, photos of the condemned house. I told him to keep the folder. I had more. He returned 30 minutes later, apologized, and gave me a case number for felony elder abuse. At the courthouse, Corey sauntered in, alone, disheveled, shoes untied. He reeked. The judge reviewed my evidence, asked about the police report, and immediately granted the permanent restraining order, advising Corey to get a lawyer. While there, I obtained David's merchant mariner discharge papers and Sheila's death certificate. With my POA, I removed Sheila from the house deed. This prevented Corey from making any claim in probate if David died. Sheila had left David a $70,000 life insurance policy. Corey, busy stealing David's money, hadn't touched it. I transferred every penny to a secure online account. I found a house flipper who bought the derelict property for just enough to pay off David's mortgage and clear his remaining debts. Nothing left for probate, absolutely nothing. I also found David's own life insurance policies. Sheila was the beneficiary, but she was dead. My POA allowed me to assign beneficiaries. I assigned my sister Sarah and myself, irrevocably. David remained oblivious to all of this, only knowing about the restraining order and his dead cat. David had purchased a plot next to Sheila. That was never going to happen. I arranged for his burial in a national cemetery, a disabled veteran, far away where neither Corey nor any of that old life could ever find him. He died a few months later. I was there. His urn is a garish chartreuse green, the color he hated most. In October, I received a call from the district attorney's office in Creekwood. The prosecutor on the phone, my second cousin once removed because, of course. Corey Greyson was arrested just after midnight on September 1st. He was still in jail, arraigned on felony elder abuse, theft, and neglect charges. He's facing up to 15 years in state prison. She told me the trial could take years, and I told her the prolonged uncertainty was an added bonus. He lost David, his father. He lost his home, his vehicles. He lost his credit. He will never hold a decent job again. He lost everything he stole and more. And I sleep like a baby. A very, very satisfied baby. Justice was served, decades in the making. Every single rotten thread of that family's betrayal was unraveled, and I, Maren Lynn, was the one holding the scissors.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.